and welcome to Horror Rewind. This is Kelly Florence.
And this is Mark Florence.
And today we're talking about Ready or Not. And Mark is dying!
Excuse me.
Okay, so this movie came out. We just saw the Tuesday night preview. It's was sitting at 100% on Rotten Tomatoes for a long time. It's down to 89%, but that's still pretty fresh. It's directed by Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillette, and written by Guy Busick and R. Christopher Murphy. It's the premise of wedding night, the bride coming into this family who has an empire of gaming. She's got to draw a card, play a game. The game is hide and seek, and it's not a typical game. This will be a spoiler-filled review, so if you don't want to know anything about the movie, you should stop listening. Just know that we recommend it. Well, I recommend it. Would you recommend it, Mark?
I would definitely recommend this fine film for everybody out there, yes.
Great. I would say it's a cross between Clue and one of those like people hunting movies. What would you say?
Yeah, I wrote down it's a lot like Clue and hunting people movies. I wrote both those down.
Okay. So what are they? There's that one with surviving the game, right? And there's that one that John Woo directed. I can't remember. Maybe that isn't one. I don't know.
Yeah, but yeah, Surviving the Game is a great movie with Ice-T in it. And in these people hunting movies, it always seems to be like rich people doing the hunting. So, and she, Grace came from like a kind of like a lower background. So it's usually like a rich family or people hunting a different or a lower class person.
Right. And that's kind of like The Purge. I know The Purge isn't necessarily exactly that. But the rich people do take advantage of their wealth in order to protect themselves and even buy people to kill or hunt. And then speaking of that, too, there was the movie that just got canceled recently. I think it was called The Hunt, and it was about the same thing. And it's not going to come out anymore. I mean, it probably will, maybe via Netflix or something, but it's not going to come out anymore. So we're going to get into some spoilers, just to warn you. I think this movie was beautifully shot, well made. It had the exact tone it was going for. It's very dark humor, but and even like some stuff that could veer into cheesy, but it never felt cheesy to me. It was really funny.
The choice, I think, to make it funny too made it like less cheesy. Like if they had tried to go all comedy, it may not have worked, or if they tried to go all horror movie, it may not have worked. But since they went like a combination of the two, I think it really worked well.
Exactly. Yeah, it was like the perfect balance of really dark humor and horror, but then also some lighter stuff that's still, I mean, kind of dark, but funny. I love the character of Aunt Helene. She's hilarious, just visually. She's got this really striking hair and face. It's just perfectly always on camera. She's posed, and her character is really funny. The dad character is really funny. He's always freaking out.
So on the aunt character, I didn't notice this or know this, but from the very beginning of the movie, there's a flashback to, I don't know, 50 years ago or 60 years ago.
30 years ago, because they were kids.
Oh, 30.
30 years ago, because those were the boys. Those were the brothers.
Sure. Okay, yeah, 30 years ago, and her husband she had just married was killed playing the hide and seek game. And which brother turned him in?
Daniel. So Adam Brody hid his other brother, who was now the groom in this movie, to protect him. But then he's like, no, I've got to do this for the family. So he's like, he's over here. So I think he always carried that guilt with him. So in the end, when she said like, you don't have to do this, you can help me, he decided like, yeah, actually I don't have to do this.
So yeah, I wrote down guy from the OC. So that was Adam Brody, right?
Yeah. And it's funny that you always mention the OC, but have you watched the OC?
I never really watched the OC, but I feel like it was always on commercials, and you saw all the different people who were in the OC, I may have watched a few episodes.
Because I don't know. I mean, I have never seen an episode.
Or maybe actors from the OC are just good and they're getting like roles now later, a little later in life.
Okay, yeah, that could be too. This is like maybe it's such a girl comment, but I really loved her wedding dress and that whole business. I loved how they set up this family and Grace's personality and her relationship with the groom, and he gave her that out. He's like, we can literally leave right now if you want to, and she didn't take it. Well, obviously because she didn't know what was in store. He didn't tell her. I
know they, like, right when I kind of knew what the movie was about, and I was like, why would he ever even leave this up to chance? Then they still kind of explain it, that she really wanted to get married, and that's why he proposed, and if he didn't propose, she would have left. But still, I mean,
if you love somebody, wouldn't you want them to live?
Yeah, you can't. I mean, I don't know. You can't bring someone into this situation knowing there's even a 5% chance that they could die. Like, to me, that was just a terrible move, and you have to explain it to the person. Like, in my opinion, this family should not be getting married.
Yeah, exactly. So speaking of more members of the family, Andie MacDowell is the mom, and she is in 4 Weddings and a Funeral and Groundhog's Day. And now she's in the new 4 Weddings and a Funeral TV show that I'm watching on Hulu, which I recommend if you like romantic comedies.
So a funny joke I thought it was funny at the time, from Married with Children. They brought up, mid-90s. They say 4 weddings and a funeral, and then Al Bundy says, that's like 5 of the same thing.
Aww. Jeez, why did everyone think he was such a hero? I mean, maybe he was, I don't know. And then, there's this sister character that shows up with her husband. They're pretty funny characters. She's got the white powder on her nose, and she's popping pills, and her husband's a pretty funny character too.
So what actress played her, do you know? Okay. I thought that might have been, no, never mind. Somebody from
The OC?
No, the Hills or whatever.
Oh, I don't think so. But I liked all these peripheral characters. I really liked the butler guy, who was like always conducting his music and singing. That scene there was a scene in the kitchen where Grace is hiding from him, and he's making the tea. I thought that was really funny. And of course, this big giant house with these hidden corridors for staff to go through. So there's all these little nooks and crannies to hide. Grace didn't end up hiding very much, though. She was mainly on the run.
She was on the run a lot. I was trying to kind of put myself in that position to see what I would have done. There was a few times I thought it was a little fake, like when she was in that big room getting that gun and she was just like standing there, like looking in the mirror. Like, if this whole family was like searching for you, would you really just be standing out in the open? But I don't know. I mean, I was trying to figure out what I would have done. I probably would have just like ran and hid in the woods, hopefully, because to me that's your best bet.
I like that moment, though, because it was really badass. First of all, she purposely tears her wedding dress to make it easier to run in. She's got her tennies on now. And then she's got this belt of huge shotgun shells, big enough to take down an elephant probably, and the shotgun. Little did we know, though, at the moment that they were dummy rounds. It wasn't real ammunition. Darn it, but I guess the movie would have ended a lot sooner if it had been real.
I thought that it was interesting because it showed, even though she didn't fire the gun, she had she pulled the trigger, and the gun didn't go off. But that, when she was pointing at that guy, then I think it happened again later, but that just showed that she was willing to kill people. Like, I mean, it wasn't like she was afraid to kill. It just, the gun didn't work. Yeah,
and she really did kill the guy's mother at the end. Like, that was pretty brutal and shocking.
Yeah, and she used the box to kill her, which was pretty symbolic of everything that was going on. So
this family, of course, has this tradition of playing a game because of their gaming family. When I married into your family, I knew about a wedding tradition to be aware of, and it was that your family likes to pull pranks. And so I know one of the pranks was during somebody's wedding, they left flyers on everybody's car during the wedding that said, something happened to the wedding cake. Could you please stop at a bakery and pick up some cake or cupcakes or dessert? So literally like 200, 300 people showed up with dessert at the wedding and nothing had happened to the wedding cake. Do you remember this story?
Vaguely, yes. I know. I've heard a few, maybe something about fake teeth, maybe at a wedding.
And then I think that there was like a really elaborate plan where they booked multiple hotel rooms for the wedding night, and then somebody ended up like literally being in their trunk of their car and crashed their honeymoon on their wedding night.
Yes, that sounds familiar. Or they like got access to one of their rooms, like their honeymoon suite. I can't remember exactly what they did, but like maybe somebody hid in there, like they did something in there. So, I mean, you know, it's somewhat similar, although not on the
Nobody has died.
No, yeah, no, well, yeah, that we know or that we talk about, yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah, the worst thing that happened at ours, they set off fireworks outside, which was illegal, but I mean, on the scale of things. And then they had like laughing boxes during people's speeches. They'd set off these laughing boxes, so it sounded like people were laughing at the speeches.
At our wedding?
Yeah.
I didn't notice that, but my brother tried to tell a funny speech and it wasn't funny, so maybe that actually helped him. Just kidding, Jeff. You're the best. I also noticed a strong family theme in this. Like the whole thing was like, you know, strong family versus like, especially for the guy who got married, like, does he pick his family or pick his wife? So, you know, I can kind of relate to that.
What?
Just kidding.
Yeah, that was an interesting theme too. And I noticed, I don't know about the brother-in-law Fitch, but the other wife had said what she came from was nothing compared to this, and they implied that she was a gold digger. She was just in it for the money. Grace was, you know, saying she loved him and she wasn't in it for the money. And I don't know what the brother-in-law was in it for, but they came from these different backgrounds and they were happy to have, you know, this family, it seemed, but at what cost?
Yeah, tough decision. I mean, you know, if you're in it for love or money, that one lady was obviously in it for money. I don't know about the Fitch guy. He was a funny character, but
I liked, he watched a YouTube video to figure out how to use his crossbow. And then I loved that his wife kept accidentally killing people. That was really funny.
She had good intentions of making being a hero, but she just, so yeah, they had 3 maid type characters, and it turns out they were all just in there for extra deaths. So, but
that was fine.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, it was, all the deaths were unique and creative, so it was pretty good.
Yeah, it was a lot of funny dark moments, which I appreciated. What else do you want to say about Ready or Not?
My favorite line in the whole movie was, so they had captured her and they were going to do their ceremony, and then Fitch was trying to psych himself up to go like be a man in the ceremony, and he's like, don't be a bitch, Fitch. And he's like walking around. He's like, don't be a bitch, Fitch.
And he's slapping himself in the face. Yeah, that was pretty funny. Oh, it was a surprising turn when she went out to the barn and there's goats out there. And you think, oh, okay, well, they just have goats. But they were actually goats that we find out that they've been sacrificing to Satan because they made a deal with the devil. And that's why they have everything they have. But then also below the goats is this cellar where they've been keeping all the dead bodies of everybody who they sacrifice or kill over the years. That was pretty disgusting.
Yeah, and I like the part where she was hiding in there and that, you know, someone's searching for her with the flashlight. They actually shot her through the hand. It was a little kid, and then she just like punched him in the face super hard and knocked him out. So that was a good scene.
It was good. And then also good, but in a different way, was when the kid woke up and said like, oh, I shot at the bride. And his mom says, "Oh, I'm so proud of you." And then that's when Adam Brody, the uncle, is like, "Okay, maybe this is wrong."
That's when you realize it, yep. And then another good scene from that was when she fell into that goat. She fell down into the goat thing and got all dirty and, like, looked around and just started puking everywhere.
I can't even imagine the smell. I don't want to.
And then you could see the guy who got killed at the beginning 30 years ago down there, like with his tuxedo on and the two, like, arrows sticking out of his chest. So, very interesting.
Nice callback to that.
Oh, and when she called the OnStar help, that was funny. She finally got a car. You thought she was going to get away, so she pushed, like, the OnStar, quote unquote. I forgot what they called it in the movie, but the guy basically said, was trying to be helpful, and he's like, "Well, this car's reported as stolen, so we're going to have to shut it down." It was just like...
She's like, "F you, Justin." No, she's like, go F yourself, Justin. Yeah, that was funny, too. So, again, a lot of nice use of humor and unique things that they did with technology versus old school stuff. Like, all their weapons were old school, like he said, like grandfather would have used. But then they had all these security cameras and secure locks, and then, of course, the secure car. But, you know, what are they using to their advantage or not? I was thinking, if I saw, you know, some screaming person covered in blood who was like, "Help me," on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere, it would be pretty scary to stop and help them. I mean, I would, I think, or at least I'd call the cops. But what would you do?
I would definitely help, you know. But in this movie, I can't remember, it was like a Maserati or something pulled up. She saw a car, she got her way through the fence, cut up her back. And then the car, I can't remember what the person in the car said. And they're like, "Get out of the road." And then they just drove away. And then she's like, said all this stuff. Like,
she had some really good insults, yeah. I wish I could remember that. We'll have to look up the quote later.
And the ceremony scene with, like, the dagger really reminded me of a scene from The Burbs that they showed. I think it was in his dream. Oh, yeah. And I think it was pretty much almost not verbatim, but very similar, like where they raised the dagger over their head. They're speaking in Latin. Like, the ceremony seemed very elaborate to me, like all the Latin stuff. It was a cool little twist, though, that they were passing around the wine or whatever, but the Adam Brody guy had poisoned it, and they all started puking like right before they're going to stab her.
That was great. And, you know, we were talking about how these sacrifice scenes are elaborate, but we've never sacrificed anything to the devil, so maybe we don't know.
It's true. It's so foreign to us that it just seems weird, but maybe for them it seems normal. Like the guy in the movie said, he realized his family was messed up when they were all doing this goat sacrifice, and it just felt normal. So,
yes, I think that is really fascinating.
And then when, I can't remember the groom's name, Adam? I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, it's Adam, I think.
Yeah, okay. So, I don't know how spoiler-filled you want to get, but so the whole movie you're kind of wondering, is this a real curse or not? And because they're saying if we don't kill her before dawn, then we're all going to die, and, you know, that just sounds ridiculous. But, so at the end, they don't end up killing her. They almost do, stab her in the shoulder, and then she gets the knife, and they open the curtains, and it's sunny out, and all of a sudden people just start exploding randomly.
Well, so before that, though, they all react to the sun as if they're going to blow into ash like vampires, which was a really funny twist. But then nothing happens, and they're like, "Oh, this was all fake, and, well, now what do we do?" And then Aunt Helene is the first one. She's like, "Nope, we're still going to kill her." And so when she explodes, like, we see her vanish into a pile of blood, and we see blood splash on everyone. But I thought, oh, maybe somebody came in, like, with a shotgun. Like, who's still alive? Like, who got her? But nope, they're actually just exploding because they broke that pact with the devil. And I thought that was hilarious. Like, what a great twist, again, to actually have it be real. Because, of course, the whole time we're like, no, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, the whole time I thought it wasn't real. And I thought it was kind of cool that it wasn't real, and then they realized it wasn't real, and then just to see, like, how they would react.
Yeah.
But then it was cool how it flipped, and then to see how each different person reacted to the fact that they were probably going to die, maybe, but whatever. And then her husband came back to her like a little whatever, and it's like, oh, I love you, you know, this is me, we can't be together because I tried to kill you and my family tried to kill you and all that. And she's just like, don't touch me. And I can't remember how he ended up.
She said, I want a divorce, and then she threw the ring at him and he exploded. Yep. I bet a lot of people wish that could happen for real in their bad marriages. I also love the end scene. She's out there smoking a cigarette, a la Winona Ryder and Heathers, with the burning building behind her. And then they're like, what happened? And she's like, in-laws. I thought that was so funny. It's such a great punchline to end this movie, especially. Yeah. Just what a lot of fun.
Because the deaths of all these people at the end, like them exploding, was like more comical than, you know, sad or gory. So, and then, you know, it seemed like everybody was dead, and they were kind of showing like a scene of them just standing there. All of a sudden, like some brain or like something just falls off the ceiling. It was pretty funny.
Yes, a really good comedic tone that they struck with this.
So just a few other, I know earlier we talked about a few different things this movie reminded us of. One was a Saved by the Bell episode where they do a murder mystery.
I think you might be the first person to make this correlation. So let's hear it.
They all go to this mansion to have like a murder mystery weekend or whatever. And then it seems to turn out that people are actually dying. And I know Lisa Turtle is in on it. Because what they do is she dies, and they're like, oh, let's take a mirror up to her mouth to see if she's breathing. And no fog goes on it, but they like put something on the mirror beforehand. Oh. So I can't remember who they frame. It's like Zach or Slater. But
that's so random.
And then another, go watch that. It's actually a pretty good episode. And then another thing it reminded me of was the Murder in Savannah episode of The Office. I don't know if you want to talk about that, because I haven't seen it lately. I know you probably have. Yeah,
Michael's trying to distract everyone from bad news or something. I can't remember now offhand, but yeah, that's funny too. And then Creed comes in late and he's like, "What's going on, boss?" And Michael Scott's like, "There's been a murder and you're a suspect." And then Creed's like, "Okay, I'll be right back." And like he peels out because Creed's always up to no good.
Yeah, that's great. I like these things where it's like this group of people is like kind of like isolated in like a mansion or a house, and there's like murders going on. But this was a little different since they were hunting her. But then the other thing it reminded me of is a video game I used to play on my computer called The Colonel's Bequest. It was like a Sierra adventure game where you're at this southern mansion and people start dying and you have to figure out what's going on. So
that's cool. I remember you found that a few years ago, right?
Yeah, I was playing it. You can play the games online. I can't remember, called DOSBox or something like that, but it's really fun. It's a lot easier now that you have the internet, and if you ever get stuck, you can just go out there and figure out like what you have to do. So, because we used to have a hint. You could buy a hint book, so it was like say the question, and then you had like this red decoder thing, and then because it was like a scrambled up thing, and then if you held the red thing up over it, you could read it. So
I remember there used to be like I think it was like a 900 number on the, like inside the game or something, and you'd have to pay for so many $2 a minute or something, but to get hints and say, okay, I'm stuck at this part. I did it once for I think the game was Alone in the Dark, which they based that crappy Christian Slater movie off of. Anyway.
Yeah, those Sierra games had the same thing where you could call some number and get hints and pay money, but
we were such fools, but we had no other option.
But those games were damn near impossible. Like, I don't know. Maybe I was just too young, but also we played the Police Quest games and the King's Quest games, and those were really fun. But yeah, it was so specific. You had to be like, look at cabinet or something. If did anything just a little bit off, then it was tough. And then if you like played the whole game but you forgot like one thing like right in the beginning, you were screwed and you couldn't go back. So they're still fun though.
So who do you think in this movie had the best weapon? Like if you were going to get handed one of these weapons, which one would you have wanted? Not that you would ever hunt your bride, but which weapon would you have wanted? I was thinking that the best weapon is probably Aunt Helene's battle axe because it gets the job done, and I feel like no one else's weapon was super accurate.
The Adam Brody guy seemed to have a good gun, although he never really wanted to use it. His wife like saw her running across the lawn and thought she was going to kill her, and she like aimed her gun. She didn't know what she really had, and it was like I don't know what it was. Maybe
a tranquilizer gun or something, but it sounded like she hit a bird in the tree.
Yeah, but it was like it wasn't really a gun, and it I don't know. It just shot this like little thing like weakly, whatever. But the whole point of this was that they didn't want to kill her. They wanted to like maim her so they could get her back to the ceremony. Didn't seem like that was very clear, or that these people really know. Other people knew what was going on, because right away the cokehead lady like shot the maid in the face. So that was pretty funny.
Oh, that was so dark. Well, let's rank this movie on a scale of 0 to 10. 0 being you hated it, 10 being you think it's a perfect movie. Should our scale be those boxes with the card that comes out?
Sure, yeah, definitely.
Hope it doesn't say hide and seek. On a scale of 0 to 10, how many do you give Ready or Not?
I'm going to go with 9 of the boxes. Entertained me the whole way through. I mean, it wasn't super complicated movie, but yeah.
I think it's a good popcorn horror movie.
Definitely, yeah. I was eating popcorn the whole time. You know, it was funny, a lot of humor, a good mix of humor and horror, a lot of suspense. And then, but like, for example, like he told her to go down this hallway and either take the right door or the left door, and then she forgot. And so she just picked one, and then she walked out into the hallway, and like everybody who was looking for her was right there. But then, you know, something happened, and like the lady screwed up her gun, and like all that.
I think the maid ran out, and then she shot her or something.
Yeah, I can't remember. Yes. Yeah, well, yeah, it might have been like the crossbow thing, but no, it was very entertaining the whole time, and you know, you put yourself in her position to see what you would do, and no, I enjoyed the whole thing, and I would definitely recommend it.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 9 out of 10 too. I think, like you said, edge of my seat the whole time, and not in a way where it was not enjoyable, because sometimes you see a movie where you're on the edge of your seat and then you just like need a breath because you feel like you're panicking the whole time, but this was enough fun where it was just like a fun suspense. Beautifully shot. I love the whole aesthetic of the movie. I love the costumes. I love the characters. It was really great.
Like a good example of the mixture of suspense and comedy is when she's hiding in the kitchen and that butler guy's in there, and she's kind of hiding behind the island thing, and he's like humming and like doing all this like conductor stuff, and she's trying to load her gun, and then all of a sudden he just starts singing really loud, so she loads the gun, and you know, and then she thinks she's gonna kill him, and she goes up to him, talks to him, pulls the trigger, and he's like, you know, that gun's just for show, right? So
it was good, yeah.
Yeah, and then she takes the teapot and hits him across the face with it, so the rest of the movie, like half his face is burned. So that's pretty funny.
And Adam Brody's reaction to that was funny too. He had a good line. I can't remember. Like, I think he just said like effing ow or something.
Yeah, he's like, oh, geez, man. Yeah. It's pretty funny.
So, speaking of popcorn horror movies, the other movie that we saw this past week that came out was 47 Meters Down Uncaged. My 6-year-old and my 12-year-old went to it with me, and it's PG-13, so I know that may be problematic for some 6 or 12-year-olds, but they totally handled it. My daughter has loved Jaws since she was, I think, 3, and there's a few jump scares in it, but she loved it. It's I won't give everything away, but the premise, as the title suggests, it's again a shark movie, but this time they're going into this underwater cave system that ancient Mayans had built, and it's now flooded. And so there's some sharks down there, but they've evolved because they've been living in the dark, and this group of people is stuck down there with only so much oxygen, and they have to get out. So that was another edge of your seat, maybe, not as much fun, a little more on that uncomfortable edge of your seat feeling, but, a great shark movie. Lots of jump scares though, just to be aware of, and good plot, nice message in that one too.
I did not see the movie, unfortunately. I think I was at work, maybe. No, I was golfing. I was playing golf, so I saw the first one, pretty good, and Vienna and Campbell both recommended it, so.
They recorded a little thing and it got lost the other day, so you'll just have to take my word for it. But yeah, they both had a lot of fun. And then we ended up rewatching the first 47 Meters Down the other day because they were just ready to see it again. But we watched that on Netflix. And then we ended up watching this 2-hour documentary on the original shark attacks that inspired the novel and movie Jaws. So those 1916 shark attacks. These kids love sharks.
Just on a quick side note, have you seen the video of that old guy in Florida who tries to wrestle an alligator?
I have not.
Should I pull it up?
Is there anything else that you've watched in the past week or so that you recommend in the world of horror or otherwise, besides this alligator video that I'm about to watch?
No, you have to see the alligator video.
Okay, I'm going to watch it. I watched 2 things this week. The first is a little bit older, so if you can, maybe you can still find it on demand or it'll be streaming on something soon. I watched The Purge TV show. It's 10 episodes, and I had started it back, I don't know, last fall or whenever it came out. And then I just got too busy. And so I had it saved up, and I watched that this week, and that was really solid. It was a good show. If you like the Purge movies, you'll definitely like the TV show. You follow, it's just one night, just like the movies are, but you follow this group of people, different groups, and, see how their stories intertwine and come together. So I recommend that. And then the other show I watched, and this isn't in the world of horror, but I recommend it, is Euphoria. And that just ended on HBO. But I recommend it. It was really good. It's a solid teen. It's drama, but it's got some comedy. The cinematography and music in this show is beyond comparison. I don't even know what to compare it to. It's so beautiful. A lot of great issues about drug addiction, about trans issues, about depression, family. There's just so many things that it hits on, but it's really enjoyable, so I recommend it. All right, I'm about to watch the alligator video. Here we go. Okay, so it looks like the guy threw something over the alligator's head?
Yeah, it's like this alligator in a ditch, and he threw a coat over his head, now he's going to wrestle it.
Why is he wrestling it? Oh boy. Oh no. It grabbed him so hard. Oh no. I think he's trying to get out of the ditch or something. And it just turned around. That coat came off in a millisecond and he grabbed the guy and the guy had no chance.
I don't know why he's trying to even do this. Leave the alligator alone. He throws the coat over the head. This guy is
he's definitely older. He's in no condition to be wrestling an alligator.
So the first time I saw it, it said Bob Barker versus an alligator, and I thought it was actually Bob Barker.
Yeah, he does kind of look like Bob Barker. Oh no! Oh, he really grabbed his arm and shook it. I bet that hurt a lot.
But what is he even thinking? I don't know.
I may have told this story on the podcast before, but I remember somebody that I think that she went to our church or she was visiting our church and she had a broken arm. And the story was that, if you're getting chased by an alligator or crocodile, or maybe both, you should run in a zigzag pattern because it's harder for them to chase you. But if you run in a straight line, they can catch you. And so she was being chased by an alligator and she was running in a zigzag pattern and she made it. She got away, but she tripped because she was running in a zigzag and she broke her arm. But at least the alligator didn't get her.
Definitely. So according to Casey Jones on Twitter, anyone going crazy about that old guy and the alligator is a effing idiot. That video is so damn old.
Okay, well, then you're a fool for bringing it up.
I've never seen it. I literally just saw it yesterday, and now I've seen it like a million times, so I apologize.
That's funny. It's funny how memes come back around and videos come back around, and you just don't know. So you are hearing it, though, live this week.
Or that person's wrong because, well, actually no one on Twitter's ever been wrong. So,
well, we hope that you're having a great week, listeners. And tune in next week. We're going to throw it back old school to a classic Rewind episode. Oh, you know what? Speaking of Rewind episode, but then also talking about something future, we coming up have episodes coming up on the Terminator and Terminator 2 Judgment Day. And tonight at our movie, we got the preview for the new Terminator movie, and I'm so excited. It looks good, right, Mark?
Looks very good, yes. And what's her name?
Linda Hamilton.
Linda Hamilton is in it, and she's badass again. So.
And they open the door and Arnold's there. Like, what the heck is going on?
It's weird. Like, if I was going to make a Terminator, I would probably have them be the same age the whole time, but they chose to age this certain Terminator, which is weird.
Okay. You're being funny, or you think you're being funny. Yeah. No, I'm really excited for that. And then we had the Dr. Sleep preview again, which, I'm ready for. Oh, the underwater preview with Kristen Stewart. It kind of looks like Alien, but underwater. And then the other preview that looks effing scary, Kerry Russell in Antlers. So if you have not seen these previews, go check them out because there's so much good horror to look forward to. So until next time, we'll see you in the horror section.
Bye.